Now, I know we're talking about lead magnets today. So maybe just for those who might not know what that term is, tell us briefly what it is, describe it, but then why is it important for us to actually build trust with the lead magnets that we have?
Yeah, so a lead magnet, it sometimes referred to as a freebie, is basically something that you give someone that is going to help them solve a problem, give them a quick win, share a little bit of your knowledge and expertise, and in exchange, they get on your email list. And I love email marketing. It's my number one marketing method. It's where I really share my best content. And I feel like I kind of treat my email list as like it's my community. Like I'm building my own community, not in a like social media space, but in my own space, and I'm in people's inboxes. And I think the trust piece is so important because especially right now, like I feel like the past few years so many people have gotten burned in the online space or maybe bought something that didn't deliver. And I think with freebies, that is a place like that is your first touch point with somebody. So building that trust right away and sharing some of your best content and actually delivering value is going to nurture them long term. And I mean, I really think of selling as a service. So if you're focused on, delivering something that is going to help your ideal audience as your freebie or your lead magnet, and then really digging into what's behind their struggle that the lead magnet helps them with, that is going to build trust.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. What are some lead magnet ideas in case people are like, I haven't created one or I need one that's going to convert better? What are some things that you've seen that really have worked well for either you or your clients or others that you know?
So there's a lot of different ways that you could create a lead magnet. There's like, it could be a simple checklist, it could be a workbook, it could be a guide, it could be a video training, could be a quiz, it could be a private podcast. There's so many different options for the type of lead magnet. It's really what's going to be best for your audience to consume, like how do they best consume content and what's best for, like, the type of content. Like, if I wanna share a how-to, that's probably better in a masterclass or a training video versus a guide. But I will say, I think the best ones for me have been, my free training, which is really specific to my audience. But I also actually just created a new quiz lead magnet too, and I really love quizzes because they really allow you to segment your email list and your subscribers based on their quiz results and even some of their specific answers to different quiz questions. So, like for my quiz, I now know anyone who takes it, I know how long they've been in business. I know what their biggest struggle is. So that allows me to really craft emails that are going to resonate and connect with them.
I love that. I love the quiz. I've actually been thinking about implementing that into my own business strategy. Haven't done it yet, but I just love taking them and seeing kind of what the
I
results
know,
are.
me too.
It's kind of like reminds me of old school magazines we got from, in the mail, and we could take quizzes inside of them. Now, I'm interested though, Tara, to talk about the key elements. So, what really separates an average lead magnet from one that actually will convert really, really well?
Yeah, I think first we've probably all experienced where we've downloaded a freebie and it was very underwhelming. Like it was a one page, very basic. And I think with freebies, people are like they're very their email is very important. Like their inbox space is sacred to them. They don't want clutter. They're very specific about like who gets their email address. So it really has to be something that is going to entice them enough to sign up. But even more than that, after they sign up, think it comes through in the value of like, it doesn't have to be this massive thing, but it does have to give them some kind of value and some kind of win that helps them. Because otherwise, I mean, I have a whole folder of freebies that I've never looked at again. And then there's been some freebies that, they've maybe been focused on one specific thing. They're really niche down, and I know exactly what I'm getting when I sign up. And once I opened the freebie, I'm like, this is amazing. Like, I can't wait to go through this. This is going to help me so much. And I think that when we're creating them, that's the kind of experience that we want people to have when they download it.
It's almost like starting with the end in mind. Like, what is that quick win or that result we want them to have? But also having it be very purposeful and intentional based around like the different products or services that you offer. What are some common mistakes that you've seen entrepreneurs make when creating lead magnets so that we can avoid those?
I think it's kind of two sides to the same coin. It's either it's not as beneficial as it could be. So it's very simple, basic. Like if I was to create a checklist, which sounds very simple, but I'm not just going to create a checklist. I'm going to also give examples. I'm going to give like tools that you can use to do whatever the lead magnet topic is. I'm going to add a little bit more without, on the other flip side of the coin, making it too overwhelming and too much that it's kind of like those courses that are like there's 50 modules and lessons and it's like this is way too much. I am not going to go through this. So I think that also comes back to a little bit about the topic of the lead magnet and making it super specific. I think the best ones are specific. Like I've seen one recently that I signed up for that comes to mind where it's like 25 converting subject lines. I'm like, I want this. I want to see what they are. I want to see how I can like use the kind of subject lines in my business. And I know that I'm not getting like an entire email marketing course. That would be overwhelming. And I don't want that. I just want one quick win. I want to improve my subject lines. I don't want to improve my entire email marketing strategy.
Yeah, that makes sense. And like as you were talking, I was thinking about sometimes we want to over deliver, like give too much in the
Mhm.
lead magnet, but it almost defeats the purpose because it'll take them either forever to go through to get the win or they won't do it. And the whole point is to get them through that lead magnet so we can send them to that next step and keep nurturing them. So
Mhm.
once someone downloads a lead magnet, what is usually the next step? How do you suggest nurturing that lead and really turning it into a long term relationship?
So typically, what most people suggest is to have a welcome sequence when somebody opts in. So I have, for example, I have like 10 different freebies. So I have 10 different automations, 10 different email sequences because each freebie leads to another offer, a different offer on a different topic. And one thing I've actually implemented that has made a world of difference in terms of nurturing and building trust is I've built out I call it a 3 to 6 month long evergreen email sequence. Mine is currently 6 months long. So after they go through the initial welcome, they get added to this long term sequence and they get a weekly email every single week for 6 months, which it's great because it nurtures and builds trust without me being like, oh, I forgot to, I only sent one email this week. And like email is my number one platform. So I email a lot, but it allows me to take like if one week I can't figure out what to say. I don't really have anything to share or I'm on vacation and I didn't pre-schedule. That's okay because I still know at least they're going to get one email in their inbox. And how I created that, I didn't actually create any new emails for it yet. All I did was I looked back at the best emails I had sent over the past 2 or 3 years, and I took the ones that had the best open rates, got the most replies, had the best click rates, and I just tweaked them a little bit and put them in this long term sequence.
I love that. I have kind of a long-term sequence as well. And same thing. I don't have the pressure of writing an email if I don't have anything to say, or if I have a full week, or there's an emergency. So I just know they're getting
Mhm.
nurtured, but then the more the merrier. So if I do have like the real time things, it's so great to be able to just share what's on my heart at any given time as well. Now, I'd like to kind of make this really practical, like go into the mind of Tara and how you decide what to do, like how like to create one and then what you do with it. So can you just give us an example of one of the lead magnets that you've created your purpose behind it and what kind of the automation itself looks like, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I can definitely give a few examples. I'll go with my quiz just because it's the most recent one that I created. And there's more automations behind the quiz because I really decided to create this quiz because I was like, I do a lot of segmenting on my list. Like if somebody clicks this link, they'll be tagged with this. So I was getting a lot of data from my audience over time, but I was like, I really wish I had this data like as soon as they signed up. So that's why I created the quiz. They get tagged based on their results. There's 4 different results. They're tagged on that. And then there's also a couple questions that I strategically wrote in the quiz because I was like, what information do I wish I knew about the people on my email list that will help me write emails that are going to connect with them better? So the one question is what is your biggest struggle right now in your business? And I think the answers are like visibility, time management. And then based on those answers, the emails that they get in the sequence, I have conditional snippets, which is basically like if somebody has this tag, meaning that they answered this question and selected this answer, they're going to see this paragraph of text. If they have this tag, they're going to see this paragraph. So it allows me to send the same email, but it's totally customized and written more personally and more specifically to each specific person. And the feedback I've gotten on the quiz is so incredible. People are just like, "Yep, I took your quiz. It totally read me. Everything was spot on." And I love that because my email, like, I really want it to feel that way. And I think I'm also multi-passionate. Like, I have like 50 different offers on different topics. So segmenting is really, I feel like, important for my email list. So I'm not sending, somebody an email that's like, "Hey, introvert." And they're like, "I'm not an introvert. Like, I signed up for your sales funnel course. Why are you calling me an introvert?" So,
That's funny. I love it. Yeah, because your business is kind of grounded in helping introverts in the online
mhm,
space as well. But then there might be someone who is an extrovert who's like, I'm not, I don't know. So
mhm.
segmenting is very powerful and a quiz can do that. So I'm curious from the quiz, once they're segmented, where do they go from there? Do you do the same type of an offer? Like, is it leading to one specific product or is it different based on how they answered the quiz?
So for the quiz, each of the 4 final answers that they get or results, they're going into a different funnel for that. So, and because I have so many offers, it was easy for me to say, like, okay, somebody who gets this result, this is what in the quiz results, it's actually like, here's what you're probably struggling with, and here's some of my best blog posts, best podcast episodes, best products that can help you with what I think you should probably focus on. So the initial email sequence leads them into those offers and that content as well. And then at the end of that sequence, then they're added to the evergreen, just like everyone else.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So you're really being strategic in where you're sending them, which I love. And a quiz I think can do that really easily, but other freebies can too, because if they're downloading
Mhm.
a freebie, it's solving a specific problem, which then you can lead them to that type of content.
Yeah, definitely. Like I have, just to give a more general example, I have a freebie that basically I created it not to lead to a specific offer, but more so because I love sharing resources. I love also affiliate marketing. So I was like, I'm going to create a guide that is the best free resources, the best paid tools, and I'm going to like categorize everything. And I called it the entrepreneur toolkit, and right now it has like 400 different things. It's all categorized. It used to be a Google Doc, and I just switched it into a sortable actual database that people can access. And that freebie, if you look at my business, it's like this freebie doesn't really have a purpose other than I just want to share. And I mean, the affiliate marketing commission is great if somebody clicks through one of the affiliate links and buys something. but there's no like funnel attached to it. So I was like, okay, people are signing up for this. And I don't necessarily have anything 100% on the same topic to lead them to, but I want to know more about the person who signs up. So I just added a simple drop down form to the opt in that's like, I'm a coach, I'm a course creator, or I'm a service provider. And I just say, select the best option for you. And then they're tagged by what they select. And then there's a separate sequence for that. And then if it's like, I have an offer that is specifically for service providers. I have those people tagged and I can send that email. I will say, I usually use tagging, but I do also send emails to everyone because we can like general weekly emails that I write. I'll typically send them to my entire list unless they're really, really specific because segmenting is great, but there's also the possibility that, somebody got on my email list and they didn't come through the quiz. They didn't come through that opt in where there was the drop down where they selected what type of business they have. And so I don't have a lot of data on them. So if I was to only segment every single email that I send, they would never get any emails. So I think there's a balance too of like, yes, segmenting is important, but also using it strategically. So for that example, maybe people who are tagged, I send them an extra email during the launch that is really written in a specific message that talks directly to them and what I know about them. And then maybe I also send one to my entire list.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That segmenting is great, but sometimes that list wide communication is really powerful too. So a
Mhm,
little mix of both. Now, as entrepreneurs are trying to think about like, what are the best lead magnets for me? What lead magnet should I create? Or they've already created a bunch, maybe they're not converting as well. So, like, I just want that converting one. They have a specific audience, but they might be in, like, the audience might be at a different stage on their customer journey, whatever it is. What would you say are some tips for kind of deciding what type of lead magnet to create for their specific business?
I think there's a lot of questions to consider,
Mhm.
and there's never going to be like a perfect formula. Like you can always switch it up. Like I have freebies that just didn't perform well, so I ignore them. They still exist, but I just like let them do their thing. Whereas the ones that are performing, those are the ones that I'm going to like dig into the funnel, optimize, make better, try to increase any conversion rate. But I think when you're just creating an initial lead magnet or idea, it's really about knowing what you're going to lead them to first. So, what is the offer that you want to convert them to? Once you know that, it's kind of like working backwards. Instead of starting with the lead magnet, start with your offer that you want them to end up in, and then work backwards from there. What can you do? What can you help them with to get them prepared for that offer or to get them ready for that offer? So, I mean, one that could, I'm just going to like whip one up off the top of my head. So I just created a new training about using AI to create personal brand photos of yourself that are actually realistic and don't look like they're fake. I could create a lead magnet for that that is like, how humanizing AI and like the best and worst side of AI. So I know anyone who signs up for that, they're curious about AI, they're interested in it. And then I could talk about in the email sequence about how you can actually do this with AI. Here's an example of some of my photos, and you can get this with this training. And so it's just leading them step by step into the direction that you want them to end up in.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, really asking that question, where do I want them to go? And then how do I get them there? And
Mhm.
also, the question you talked about kind of in the beginning, too, is what is that quick win that I can give them? So, you have the question, like when you're creating content, is how much should I give? Like, should I do the how or the what or those types of things? Is there anything to think about as creating lead magnets in that way?
So I'm definitely I try not to give too much. I definitely struggle with that too of like where's that balance? And it is hard for most of us to find that balance because it's like, I want to help people. I think most of us have that internal feeling like I'm creating this to help someone. So I think it's really about like people don't want more content right now. They want like the quickest way to get the results that they want. Are things like that you're putting into the lead magnet, are they really necessary or are they extras that are going to confuse somebody? Like, really focus on simplifying, but still delivering the core content and value that's going to help them. But yeah, there is such a balance, and I struggle with that too. So I would even like when you create a new lead magnet, like share with your current email list, like, hey, I just created this. You can click here to grab it without having to put in your email because they're already on your list. And then ask them for their feedback immediately. Like they're already in your audience, they already know who you are, they potentially already trust you. So I would just get that feedback and see what your current audience thinks about it too.
I love that point. Like it's essentially testing your freebie. We talk about testing your business idea, testing your program ideas, testing your product ideas, all the things. But even testing a lead magnet, and that's a perfect way to do it. It's like a free gift for them. They don't have to submit their email because why would we make them? They already have it. You already have it.
Mhm.
And then it gives them an opportunity to share with you. It's another kind of nurture element and a way to engage with your audience.
Mhm. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's that personalized piece of like, hey, I just created this awesome thing. I'm so excited about it. But before I put it out into the world, I'd love for my current email list to test it out and tell me what you think. And it's like, it kind of adds that exclusive element too. Like, oh, I get the first peek at this. Like,
Yeah, no strings attached, just
Mhm.
excitement. So that's cool. I love that. I think that would be a really good challenge for all of you who are either creating lead magnets or you want to test your lead magnet. Do it with the list that you already have. Send it out there and see what feedback you get. Now, there's lots of different kinds of online businesses out there. Would you say that pretty much most of them could benefit from a lead magnet, or are there some that maybe going directly to just the service or the product would be better? What does that look like for online business?
I think most businesses would really benefit from a lead magnet. I think the only maybe exception would be if you're strictly a product based business, that would more like you'd probably have more conversions and more leads coming in if you were to do like a spin to win opt in wheel where they spin the wheel on your website, get a discount or something. That would probably convert a lot better than giving them like a free digital download of some kind.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, like very product based businesses, product based brands doing like discounted offers or things like that here and there instead of having like that free offering.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah, but I
cool.
think anyone who has like online courses, services, digital products, lead magnets are a huge win to get those leads, and then once they're on your email list, that is where you can continue nurturing and sending emails that actually speak directly to them.
Yeah. So the segmenting, the purposefulness, the intention behind it, I think the lead magnet ultimately just starts building that trust. It is that trust
Mhm.
factor to help them see what is your style? Do I want to learn from Tara? Do I want to learn from Gabe? Oh, yeah, I like where they're going. Let me stay with them. So it's a really great door into our world, like the entrepreneur's world. If you could say, number one takeaway that you want listeners to have from our conversation about lead magnets, what would that be?
I think the biggest thing that comes to mind right now, because I did also just write a blog post about this, because there's been a lot of talk about freebies and lead magnets and how sometimes people have the mindset of like, I'm giving all this free value and I'm building a list of freebie seekers. And I hate that term. I feel like if you're using that term, you've kind of already made the decision that they're never going to buy. And it's really shifting that mindset and being like, they're not a freebie seeker. They're, like you said, they're interested, they're testing the waters, they're seeing what I'm like. They're like, inviting me into their inbox. So I think it's really important to focus on, that those email sequences and your email marketing as a whole, as like you're building a long-term relationship. It doesn't matter if they buy like your tripwire immediately after signing up for your email list or if they buy 6 months from now. I think it's really about shifting how you look at the people on your email list and, yeah, not calling them freebie seekers.
That is a really good mindset shift. And I think there are some businesses out there that really do kind of create that atmosphere like freebie seekers because they don't ever sell in their
Mhm.
emails or they're not purposeful in their nurturing and marketing. And so, yes, you have a business, you want to share your products in there. And so the freebie is a way to get them in, and then you can nurture them and offer what you
Mhm.
have too. So they can see, oh, this is a real business.
Yeah, I feel like that's true. That's either they get them signed up for their freebie and on their email list, and they never actually ask for a sale afterwards or talk about their offers at all, or they go the opposite way and they just go into sell, 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 and there's no nurture, building trust part of it.
Yeah, so true. I've been on both ends, like
Mm,
in like people emails that come to me, right? And
yeah.
so, and I love the balance. I like
Mhm,
knowing what products there are. I want to know, I want to support others if that's what I need, but I also don't want it just to be salesy. I want that two-way relationship and nurturing. So I love that
mhm,
you talked about that here at the end, Tara, just the relationship and the nurturing, but also the providing. Like you had said, like I don't think that me offering my products is me being salesy. I'm just giving them an opportunity.
mhm. Yeah,
So
and it's all about the way that you position it instead of like the constant last chance, buy now, like save your spot. Like those are fine, but not only that. We also want to share stories and show that we're relatable and that we can connect with them before we go into like a big launch or hard sell, especially because like if we're not on social media, this is where we're sharing content and sharing ourselves so that people can connect with us.
yeah, I love it. The balance of it all. Awesome. Well, you've given us some really great things to ponder as we're looking at the lead magnets we either have or that we're creating to really make them purposeful and build trust with our target customers. So thank you, Tara, for being here with us today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.